I guess this is more of just me dumping my thoughts to the world, just like a almost like a journal, I guess. Do 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 do. Uh, I saw that they're tweaking the student section at Utah State University, and man, I feel like there's some really terrible takes on people having a meltdown about how it's ruining the fan experience and all that. It's like it gives the students more seats. It keeps them about the same distance. Um, it keeps the student section all as one solid piece, which I think is quite nice. I mean, I actually thought splitting it could be an interesting concept as well. It allows you to have some like quote unquote premium seats you charge a little more money for. So I think it seemed like it was the best solution, like the best of all worlds solution, which I thought was fascinating, right? But wow, there was and I should be like I people play a character on the internet and that bothers me. I had this interaction with the group chat pod guys. One of the he's being a real jerk about like home ownership and like I called him out on Twitter actually pretty directly. Like I DM'd him and I was like, "Hey man, this is a bad take." This and I was really upset. And then he kind of like was like, "Well, I'm just playing a character." I was like, "Well, don't." Right? If you have an actual critique of it, that's fine. Like play the critique, and it's okay to joke around and poke fun at things, sure. But like, don't don't say that like because you're in a different class of people because you make millions and millions of dollars that home ownership is a terrible idea because like for you who has all these liquid assets constantly coming in it might be right because you have all these other things that you can leverage and how this is going to make you more money and x y and z and I was like but for most of us like the ability to have a place you can live where you no longer pay rent it minimizes a bunch of risks for you and it allows you a lot of opportunities so lots of life was done after once you owned your home you could take more risks so if something went belly up you still have a place to live outside of taxes and food you're still alive and so I dislike people who aren't genuinely who they are on the internet and if that really is you well then you should catch all the strays that you possibly can because like you're a bad faith actor and a bad person to have a conversation with. um I am still flabbergasted by the Uno reverse, blockading the blockade. I mean, that's a reverting back. That's a wild choice. It's a choice. I don't. It kind of cuts everybody's oil off, which is fascinating. I guess you're going to charge tolls for oil going to India. Who India? As far as I can tell from their foreign policy, India is like very like what Donald Trump wanted. Like India is like India first. Like they very much homegrown everything. They've tried to insulate themselves from a lot of the rest of the world. They do not let you come and play in their market, which is fascinating. And so they have a lot less reliance on outside groups, which, yeah, I mean that's a smart way to play it. Um, as a professor, Jung or whatever, who's done some like game theory analysis that he's been popping a bunch up in my feed, and I'm like, yeah, I think he has some good takes. I have questions about all of his takes. I'm not that smart. I'll be honest. I consume information and I have thoughts, and lots of people don't understand my thoughts and they think I'm dumb, and I am. That's fair. So I don't know. I just like he had like I saw a clip of his yesterday. I was like, whoa, like his end point is a place I can see how he gets there. with like the immigration policy of the United States, which and there's a model for this that's already been laid out. And he was talking about having immigrants fight the war, and I'm like, ugh, I mean that's dicey, and that the optics on that, and I could see how the Stephen Millers and those would be all for that type of behavior. Like that, there are those, and I have interacted with many of these types of people throughout my entire life. I could see that being a thing that they would be all for. Like, oh, we'll give you and your family citizenship if you go fight this war. And there's 40 million illegals or something like that in the United States. So if what percentage of those are fighting age, I mean that's a couple million people probably. I mean that's a choice, and that is, I'm not saying it's a good choice, and that would have interesting consequences. I'm being very polite, trying to say like interesting consequences. They're not interesting, but I mean that's like if you're fighting meat wave style technological fights, like the Russians do, where it's just like human wave, absorb wave, like low tech. Here's a gun and go do your thing. Yikes, man! That's a world I don't know that I want to be a part of. I'm just an IT guy. So, but I'm sure my thoughts are on a wrong think list for the current administration for lots of reasons. I don't know. I think the bubbles and the destruction of wealth is coming. I mean, can you imagine all these old people when if the housing market cut 40% and all their money is tied up in the asset bubble, and now suddenly they're destitute and they're having to give up homes to young people, and they're getting pennies on the dollar, and then now suddenly they're crying out that they want their social security and they want these protections and these benefits, and now everybody's gonna be like, nah, man, like you screwed us. Figure it out. You're tough. You're smart. You told us to pull ourselves up by your bootstraps, so get to grabbing, get to pulling. Supposedly you're so smart and talented. So we'll see. In other news, I actually had an idea. Oh, I should do that. I shouldn't say that yet. That's a good idea. I don't know that it'll get me anywhere, but it's a fun one. Good business idea. Got a couple of those cooking. But let's be honest. I have ideas. I don't ever capitalize on my ideas. I don't ever do anything. I'm just a hopeless dreamer for the most part. This is what pissed me off about my grandpa, my uncle, just constantly talking shit about this, that, and the other, and how they could do this, and how smart they were, and they could build this and do that. And they never once showed up. And then here I am thinking I was different, and it turns out I might be the villain. I'm no better. It's a heartbreaking development. I put out a thing on Facebook today. It's like a legal contract that I think people running for Congress should sign. I think the parties should force the individuals to sign it. And basically, like, if you cheat on your spouse, it would automatically force you to resign, right? And it has a legal poison pill in it. That's like you have $100 million fine to pay or you resign. And like, yeah, I think it should be absurd like that. So it just basically forces the issue. Like, yeah, you'll never weather that storm. And it only takes like 50 people from your state to bring the lawsuit against you, and then you have to constantly prove that, right? And you know, I know the legal system and all that's broken, but like I feel like we got to try something. It's just too much of a mess. Anyway, whew, this could be every year is more interesting than the last. And I use interestingly in quotation marks. Interesting in quotation marks. I don't know why I do this. Spew my stupid ass thoughts into like whatever this is. I guess I've spent my entire life screaming to the void, hoping somebody would listen to me. I need an electric car. This commute is going to bankrupt me more so than I already am. I've applied for like 100 jobs over the last 2 years, and I have had zero correction. Excuse me. I have had one interview. And they applied enough to tell me that I was the third place candidate, which I do appreciate, but it is a little like, yeah, you're third place. Dope. That is, I mean, but that is story of my life. I've never been the first picked for anything. Nobody's like, ooh, I want Jordan. It's always, oh, so and so's got hurt, or this happened, or that happened, and like we don't have another option. So you'll do. I'm always good enough. That was a wild noise coming off that band. Some belt or something's rubbing. Hmm. Snowcats. Interesting. Hope this doesn't get too hot. Well, I'm just gonna keep ranting and whining about stuff. So I'm just gonna stop. I don't have much to say. Lots rattling around my head, but not too much to say. So, yep. See ya.